Hey everybody, Tim Shaw here, and I am so glad that you're spending your Tuesday night with us because of the fact that where else are you going to be? Listen, I know all about it's Western New York, and you have a choice. Either you're out shoveling snow or I don't know, stealing from cars. I don't know what the hell you're doing. I don't want to know these things. Anyway, we got a great show for you tonight. And a good friend of ours is on tonight, and he is just phenomenal, just phenomenal. Really quickly, I'm Eric Tuberdike and I will be appearing at Paranormal Oddities on Friday. We're going to do music and mediumship, so it's a little bit fun. If you've never heard Eric's an old punk rocker that he's just a great guy, and his song "Midnight in the Morgue" is not to be missed. I'm not going to lie to you about it. And then on Saturday, I'll be doing a Zoom on talking about Ouija boards for WitchCon out of New Orleans. So these are the two things that I have going on. Now, I want to bring our guest on with as little as little stroking as possible. Because why? Because he's just that type of a guy. You know what? You've known him, my God, for I don't know how many years, and what the hell was he doing? He was on Ghost Adventures. He was on Paranormal Lockdown, Ghost of Shepherdstown. What the heck else? Oh, we're going to talk about his series Death Walker, which is phenomenal. I'll just come right out and tell you that right now. It's just phenomenal. He is also doing he's also doing uh, a great YouTube show with his wife Tessa, and it's called, let me get it here, Dead Time with the Groffs. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, welcome the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that has the most perfect hair in the world. And I'm not kidding. I saw the ultrasound of his son, and his hair is perfect. I don't know how this happens. It's genetics. Please welcome good friend Nick Groff. Nick, thank you for being here tonight. I know that your life is totally insane. You are
It is.
on the go constantly. I don't, you know what do you sleep? Like 3 hours a night and then like keep going? I don't know how you
Try.
do it, brother. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, you just kind of have to turn on that switch and become that machine. So every day you can just turn and burn. Yeah, it's amazing. Hopefully, our boy Tessa and I have he has the genetics of his mom, so the good looks and stuff. So it's crazy with technology though. 4D imaging now is insane. Just
It
seeing
is.
ultrasounds and just like how you can just see all the features and everything. And we have a picture where his eye is open, which
Yeah.
is really unique. So it was one of the best moments for Tess and I to just experience that. And it's also amazing when you can be a part of creating life. And I think as you get older too, you really appreciate the sincere moment of understanding going through life experiences and everything you kind of pursue in the journey. But like when you look at a child that's being born or created or
Hmm.
evolving, that comes from us. It's pretty amazing. So it's really cool. We're super excited and can't wait to see what the next chapter of our life brings us.
All I got to say is, Nick, what did you do? Did you blindfold Tessa when she first met?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't no Tessa. I've known Tessa for a while, and she is such a talented medium. But
yeah.
she's the nicest person in the world. What she's doing with you, I don't know. But I mean, I'm not going to judge. But but I was so thrilled when I heard that you guys were going to really have a family together, and I think that's just phenomenal because
Yeah.
you are a great person. You are one of the best people that I've met
I
in
appreciate that.
seriously. And I mean, I schlep with a lot of people at the events and stuff. And it's really, you're one of the nicest ones. And I never owe you money. That's the best part about
That's the
it,
good thing.
you
Yeah, yeah. No, and I never
know.
have to go collect from you, so we're good. We're
It's
square. Yeah.
it's the way it is. It's the way it
Yeah.
is. I know
So
because listen, I've seen you when you're in your American Ninja videos, and I'm thinking to myself, even when I was in good shape, I wasn't in that good a shape. So
I
really,
have to keep mentally. into something or else you kind of break. Like you need that healthy balance. We were talking about this,
Hmm.
Tim. It's like when you have a work schedule and you have to go, and you only have enough time to rest so your body can like re-energize.
Yeah.
You really need that healthy balance in your life where you can take a moment in every day when it's as stressful it is, or you're sitting. I'm sitting editing a lot right now because I'm editing Deathwalker, the new series that we're doing, and my days consume me very quickly. And when you're sitting for that long editing,
Oh
you
God,
have to
yes.
take about an hour, go to the gym, go in the dry sauna, stretch, just sweat out, push out all that energy, and then work out and feel good, and then eat right, drink a ton of water. If you don't have that healthy balance, I realize you just start slumping and dragging big time, energetically, focus wise, all sorts of stuff. And it's different too, not just on the post production side when we're editing, also when we go out in the field, it's grueling and taxing on your body physically and mentally, especially when you don't have a humongous crew like 30
Oh
people, 20
yeah.
people, or even 12 people, or 4 people to help out. It's just my cousin Justin and I doing all the filming for Deathwalker. When we're out at locations, that's it, and sometimes just me alone. So it's
Oh no,
crazy.
but people don't realize that because I mean I've done some indie stuff and
Mhm.
it's just amazing how much time you have to devote to it, how much energy has to be expended on this. People don't, they don't realize B-roll doesn't doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
Or if you're in like a lockdown type of situation and you're in there by yourself, it takes time and your body starts to break down. I know, I've got like a few months on you,
Only a couple
all I
months.
all I got to say is Johnny Zaffis is 3 months older than me. So what does that
Yeah,
and you know what? God gave him the 10 Commandments before he gave him the Moses. But
there you go.
so that gives you an idea how much older I am of you. But it takes a lot. And even when you're in great shape,
Yeah.
it's so much. Let's talk about Deathwalker. Uh Deathwalker is really a great series. And how did you come up with the concept?
Every push mentally and physically throughout my career, from Ghost Adventures, or even way before Ghost Adventures, like when I was 13 years old, I was really interested in aliens, extraterrestrials, space, time, Area 51, and I just wanted to pursue throughout my career different stepping stones. I feel have really intrigued me, just
Hmm.
personally in life. And I think if you can't find the personal passion with what you love, or what you're looking or searching for, then it just kind of becomes in the box what we call the formula of production for TV, just like another show. So it's like if you can't find that passion or what you really are aiming to do and trying to push yourself to beat out what you've done before prior in your life, then I feel like you're just falling into the same train, the same workhorse that you just mentally put yourself into, and it just time goes by, and then you realize, man, this just kind of feels redundant and it sucks. It doesn't matter how big the paycheck is, or what you're doing, or what platform you're on. You really have to find yourself in that passion, I think, foremost, and really go for it, and all the other stuff comes to fruition. So when I sat down and I thought of doing Deathwalker, it was in the essence of going back to the roots, of how I started when I was a young kid with my cousin Justin, and we were pursued just different haunted stories, and going through college, looking at all the haunted mining towns in Virginia City, Nevada, and Goldfield, and then going into like filming this documentary and getting all those guys together and bringing them on this kind of journey of what I experienced prior in spring break in college, going up to the haunted mining towns, and then creating Ghost Adventures, and onto, okay, that one ended. What am I going to do now? Paranormal Lockdown. Pushing Paranormal Lockdown into the sense of, all right, I'm going to stay at this location for 72 hours, 3 days straight to 4 days straight. And I'm going to sleep there, eat there, and not leave, and try to experience at my most vulnerable state what is actually happening from eyewitness accounts. So, and I want to set up major experiments, which was cool. We had a decent, a little bit more people to help us out on that one, to set up like some cool experience. And then we got to Deathwalker, and it's interesting how you get put back on your toes, when things kind of transition or move, or just stop. And you have to think outside the box and be creative on how can I better myself? How can I do something that's different within a genre that's oversaturated
Mm-hmm.
tremendously,
Mm-hmm.
especially on cable networks and so on. So for the last 3 years, what I did is I went back to the grind of, how I got my start, just the roots of a cameraman who I trust, my cousin Justin. We've been doing this from since we were kids. He's super knowledgeable in this stuff, and we have deep conversations about all things paranormal, supernatural. So we started diving into let's go out there, just him and I in a car, line up a bunch of locations and film them and try different experiments, different tactics, approach it a little bit differently, sleep at some locations, investigate others, just evolve. So we just decided to go on this quest together, and it started evolving into what is now Deathwalker, a man who walks among the dead is kind of how it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of stereotyped in that sense. But the first 5 episodes were just like a pilot. It was just him and I. That was like, it was so gritty, so raw. um, First 5 were just based on theories, like taking 2 locations and collectively gathering data or information and analyzing 2 locations into one topic that is a theory, like time. Taking what we define as time, and breaking down the notion of time, and what we have discovered with 2 different locations that we investigated, bringing it together. So that was the first 5, but we piloted that. And what I mean by pilot is we took that just based on him and I, out of our own pockets, everything, just went on and did it all, shot it, edited it, put everything together. And then what we did is we handed it off. I got it into the hands of a really great company who thought they could run with it and distribute it to personally, without any networks or anybody else involved. And we are now worldwide, internationally,
Amazing.
within a year. So the great thing that happened with that is the pilot turned into an episodic series. So then we went off and we filmed 15 more locations, investigations. Then for the next 15 locations, we focused heavily on, can something beyond physically affect our bodies? Can we actually see the imprint, like for instance, a scratch, a hand mark, redness, or any irritation or anything physically on the body as it's happening? Not after the fact when the camera's away and like, I got scratched or something's happening, and then the camera comes back and you see it. I want to see it in the moment of it's happening. So we really went off after that, because when I first started, when I created Ghost Adventures, I remember seeing an episode on the Sally House back in 2004. It was October 2004, sitting in my little apartment in Las Vegas, just graduated college at UNLV. I see this documentary on the Sally House, the news reporters, and you see the scratches showing up, and you see these camera documentary news reporters filming it. That intrigued me, and I've been so fascinated by the paranormal. So that actually made me go and call the guys who I knew back then to say, "Hey, do you guys want to go out and investigate this? I've been doing all this my life. I saw this doc. I want to go out and see for real if ghosts exist." That's how Ghost Adventures started. So I went back to that moment in my life and said, man, that still impacted me. Let's put this into motion with Deathwalker. So we really went after 15 locations on physical imprints or attacks or anything that can happen on the body. So I really wanted to see for myself foremost, can that actually happen? And how we can document it, and why is it happening. So that was that, and that turned into the series. It streamed in the United Kingdom on Discovery Plus. It's been trending every weekend, which is incredible. And then also in Canada on Sci-Fi, the Sci-Fi channel in Canada, which has been doing good too. And now we're getting ready to release it in America coming up. We're going to make some big announcements. The great thing is 20 eps. But the other great news is we're filming 20 more eps right now. So there's gonna be 40 eps in America when it hits. I know it's been a moment and people get frustrated. Why isn't it in America? I know that's a major question. But to be honest, it's political stuff. It's just basically certain network people or network executives want to rearrange other things that they're doing or put other things there. We're a personal finance company that basically is putting this series together with no backing from a commission project of a network. like Paranormal Lockdown was, or like Ghost Adventures is, and so on. So this is basically something that Justin and I have done from the roots up, and we're killing it, to be honest with you, and it's going well, and we're getting ready to film 12 more locations, and we just filmed 8, and we'll have 20 by October coming up, and we have great news to announce really soon. So it's stepping stones when you have 2 people and a couple other people in working parts of this formula of Deathwalker that we put together. We have a little team that shoots reenactments. They're incredible, like little filmmakers that are
Hmm.
awesome, good people, and they help us build out the intros and the reenactments back in Buffalo, New York, with some incredible people. And then Justin and I are the only ones that go do the real investigation at the haunted locations and tell the backstory and the interviews. We do all the interviews ourselves. We shoot everything ourselves. We shoot all the B-roll, but all the reenactments that you see in the beginning, we do back here in New York. And basically, that's the honest truth. I mean, really, it's just stepping stones. When you have something and you 100% own it, and a network doesn't control it and they don't commission it, and you don't have to go through a gazillion notes from EPs to EPs to EPs to general
Oh
managers.
my God, yes.
You know what I mean? It's
Oh,
like
oh
a
my God.
nightmare.
Oh my God. The pilots that I worked on, it was
Yeah.
brutal because every time you turned around, there was always somebody there that had their
Mhm.
fingers in the pot, and they weren't making it better. It was just the fact that they were trying to justify why they were there in the first place.
Yeah, well, I
So,
mean,
you
they have
know,
ju everyone has a position and a job, I get it, and it's not like they're bad people, most of them. I think it's just a matter of, sometimes people wanna be over analytical in executive
yes.
producer positions, and the reason why they
Yes.
do that is because they wanna keep their job. So they have to note stuff, like, "Tim, why did you do the narration this way?
Yes. Oh
You
my
need to."
God, yes. Can you come
Yeah.
down to Baltimore and can you
Yeah,
fly
we
to
need to do pickup
Baltimore?
shots or
Yeah,
whatever,
it's like,
OTFs or something.
what?
Yeah,
What are you kidding me? You know, we've
yeah,
only spent 6 weeks in this hellhole,
yeah.
and it's tough. People don't really realize that. I think that when you have full creative control and you're not thinking about the end product, and let's face it, you know as well as I do, the end product is selling commercial time and that sort of thing, for the networks. You actually do a better job because it's a love affair. It is
Yeah.
something that it's passion. And Nick, from the first time I met you, uh, I always said that this guy's got passion. This guy is doing this for the right reason. This is the guy that really goes and knows what he wants. I remember when you were telling me a little bit about the lockdown series, and
Yeah.
I sat there and thought, this is innovative. This is unbelievable. And I have to say, I don't know how you did it, but you kept the concept so close to the way you explained it to me.
Yeah.
I was really impressed. I thought this guy, this guy has either got like some blackmail material on some executive somewhere, or that he has that that passion that
Yeah.
he can go and he can bring stuff back to where it's supposed to be. And I think that's what's great about it. The other thing I loved about what you've always done, it's always seems like you've been ahead of the pack. It's, I when we were talking about the first shows, it was sort of everybody was doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I'll
Mhm.
be honest with you, it gets boring. So then they go and they do a sprinkling of something else, and then everybody's doing it too. Uh, I thought what you were doing by staying in the locations, by using different experiments that you've
Right.
done, the different demonstrations, I think that's what really became cutting edge. And
Yeah.
it's difficult. Okay, let me ask you this. How difficult is it to stay at that cutting edge when you have people nipping at your feet? Because
Yeah.
you know as well as I do, you've got people out there from production companies that are watching anything that you put out,
Yeah,
any
I know
trailer, anything, and
I
they're
know they are.
grabbing at it, you
They
know?
reach out all the time to me to try to do stuff with, and I don't know, it's, I don't know, I've always been like that. I just you gotta think outside the box and you gotta keep pushing. You can't I mean, here's the key. I say this at my point in my life: never give up. It's as simple as that.
Right.
Believe in what you're doing and be confident about it, and go out and do it, rather than talk about it or want to do it. Either you're going to go do it, and if there's a will, there's a way. That's as simple as that. Um, I've just always found a way to do it and think outside the box. But I also try to surround myself, moving forward in my life, with good people that think in the same avenue or help push me forward. And I'm a team player. I like to work with people together to rise to the top and evolve together. I'm not ego driven, and I don't have anything to hold me back in that category. But unfortunately, being young and naive, I've been there. You've been kind of pulled back by people that are negative and hold you back. So it's very difficult, especially in an industry where everyone's trying to claw each other to the top for that stardom or money or whatever it is. I've been like, look, I've been in it for about 20 years, like in film and TV,
That's
and it's
amazing. That's
it's
amazing
long.
to me.
It's
That's just
crazy
amazing to
though.
me because I remember, because when I met you, you were still on the top. You were there. You were in that pinnacle. You were just, holding
Yeah.
on there. And, I have to say that when all the changes that you've gone through, and I've known you for a few years now,
Hmm.
you have always been the most positive, team driven player that there was. You never forgot people. You always really said, I'm going to go and I'm going to ascend. I am not going to go and worry about what everybody else is saying about me. I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, okay, whatever you want. But I got to be truthful to me, and
Yeah.
I have to be able to go and I have to live my life in an authentic way to make me happy. And when I'm happy, I can create. And I think that is what is so amazing. When I watch your work, I can see that. And knowing you as a person, I can feel that positivity and how you just go and say, listen, for me to be here, I had to go and do all this. I had to go through all
Hmm.
this. And
Yeah.
you know what? That's why I have so much admiration for you because of that. And I tell everybody, if there's one person in this field that really embodies the whole spirit of being that person who is believes in being helpful, being creative, being loving, it's you. It
I
really is. And
appreciate
and I'm
that.
not
Yeah.
saying this. And again, you know me. I mean,
Yeah.
you know me. I call people different names as it is. And and I would tell you right to your face if I thought you were,
You do, yeah.
but
You do.
but I mean, it's just wonderful. And that's why I think at this point in your life, I mean, you found so much happiness. And again, I love Tess. She's so cute with that little baby bump. Well, I shouldn't say little.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's kind
Yeah,
of
he's
large now,
grown.
but but I mean, I think she's just great, and I think that's why you guys are doing as well as you are. And
Yeah.
I can only predict success for you. You're ready to go. You're ready to break. Now, let me tell you. Let
Yeah.
me ask you this, buddy. Let me ask you this. When you're out there, there's two of you,
Yep.
and you're in these locations. I gotta ask you this. Now, me, I always wear depends because I know better. I know better.
Yeah.
When you're out there, is there anything that kind of freaks you or Justin when you guys are working out
Yeah.
there where you say,
Yeah.
Jesus, why am I doing this?
Yeah, what's funny is Justin's hard of hearing. So he has hearing aids in, and he can hardly, like, he's listening to me on the wireless mic, headphones, making sure the audio is good, and he's the only one filming. So we have two cameras that, I set up a camera, maybe we'll have a third camera somewhere in Justin's filming. And there will be times where even he gets startled and he's like, I just heard something like in my ear. And, he's hard of hearing. It's just very odd. Or he'll feel something tug on his back, or he'll feel the energy, or empathically, he'll sense something. And he's a pretty hard guy. Like, this guy has like biceps the size of Mount Washington. And he's a pretty tough guy. So whenever he gets startled, it intrigues me to understand what's going on. But typically, I'll be picking up on something too at the same time on an audio device or an experiment we're doing, or I'll feel like some sort of energy if I'm in the zone of what's happening, and he'll have some sort of reaction happening too. That's what I notice. But we're also very close. We probably should have
Right.
been brothers instead of cousins at this point in life. But yeah, there's stuff that actually startles me too. It's that negative energy or that feeling of feeling, I don't know, like you're not supposed to be there. You know what I mean? And it's
Hmm.
just it's unpleasant. I think it's the negative energies that make me feel uncomfortable is the best word. Um it takes a lot to scare me at this point. I've been to tons of locations, some of the most craziest places with like dark history, but there are times where I do feel it. So for instance, there was a couple of locations in Death Walker series where I had to sleep alone in the house. I've never been completely alone in a location. Paranormal Lockdown, I was alone in sections of the location, but there was always Katrina way on the other side or somewhere else.
Hmm.
But for Death Walker, I'm completely alone at times. And I'm telling you, it's one of the most difficult things when you have no rest, you have no hotel really to go to, and Justin leaves, and you're like, all right, I'm here by myself. That's it. So it's crazy.
I'm telling you, you know what? Oh, I got it. Here's a question for you, for me. Just how empathic are you? Now, I'm going to ask you this because the first time, I always remember the first time I shook your hand. We were up at Sault Ste. Marie and I shook your hand and I went, this guy
We
isn't
both
just like,
connected. It was
yeah,
the
this guy's
twinkle
not
in
like a
our
ghost
eyes.
hunter. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Usually you shake somebody's hand and it's sort of like, dead fish, when it comes to like,
yeah,
being an empathic. How empathic are you? Because I know working with you on a couple little projects here and there that you seem to sense a hell of a lot more than what you let on during filming. Because I know that
yeah.
you already, a lot of times I always got the sensation that, or the sense that you already knew that something was going to happen before you walked even in through the door of the location.
Yeah, it's strange. So my grandfather, my mom's dad, actually was very intuitive. He would have dreams. He would have psychic visions and stuff like that. He never talked about it all my life, but it's funny because he would always talk to my mom. My mom is very intuitive with her dreams, vivid insights and stuff like that, and she doesn't really talk about it unless it's serious. So I think I picked up on that with myself. Like years ago when I was on some Ghost Ventures episodes, I started to realize I would feel things or I would sense things, and then all of a sudden on a digital recorder, I would hear the voices coming through. I would, things would happen. So I never really talked about it or like just kind of like openly made it a thing. But yeah, definitely intuitive, definitely empathic to people's energies, definitely sensing energies. Oh my gosh. Very vivid dreams, stuff like that I think in the last 4 years, I very much have honed like my skills. I'm kind of like an antenna for a long time where I was scatterbrained, but now it's like once you come into focus with that antenna on the TV that's static, I'm starting to understand very clearly. But I think you have to really know yourself and be very confident and open minded to the possibilities of what you're picking up on or what you're feeling or emotionally connecting with. You have to be able to understand that because, part of us, we go into daydream and we go into all these things during the day. But then there's another part of us on our brain where we have these insights, or if you're focused, you pick up on people or the energies or at locations and stuff like that, or the past or the present or what's to come. So yeah, I've had a lot of that through my life. My mom started to tell me a lot of this about my grandfather, about her, when I started doing these series later in like my 30s. So it wasn't like recent. So I never kind of openly talk about it. It's just what I do, and don't make anything of it. I just go off of my instincts, and I've been very intuitive lately. My mom also told me it was interesting. So at age 8, I actually fell from a tree and I ripped open my left arm and almost died. Pretty much I was close to hit my artery right here. It's all pretty much big scar. And my mom saved my life and basically had this like weird kind of I don't know what you would say skating on the other side because I saw all these faces surround me, and realistically in reality there was only my mom and some other person. when that happened. But I saw a ton of faces just looking down at me, bright light, all that stuff. My body was in shock, so I was going in and out of consciousness. And what's strange is after that happened, my mom would tell me later in my life, I started to have things happen when I was a little bit younger than that before that accident. My mom said she would hear me talking in my room and she would come to the door. It got to the point where it was surreal, like somebody broke in our
Mm-hmm.
house and I was talking to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
She says she would walk in, I think around when I was 4, 5, all the way up to like the accident. And then the accident kind of triggered other things where I started seeing, where I started realizing what was happening. I would see like shadow figures and stuff like that at different weird parts of my life. Picking up on empathic things, energies, intuitive senses would be in heightened more so than what I was having happen as a kid. My mom said she would come into my room at an early age and she would creak open the door and she would see me in the corner of the room, looking up at the corner of the room, talking to angels and something like it was floating, like they were talking to me. And she said very vividly, she still remembers it would scare her so bad because I was imagine a little boy like in the corner of his room just up there talking. It's like something out of the movie The Others when Nicole Kidman is like, "I am your
Yes.
mother." Turn her around.
I
So
got one. I got one better than that. How would you like to be married to a 64-year-old man who is standing there with looking up, talking to somebody? That
yep.
that's what my poor wife has to put up with. So you know what? It doesn't end, Nick.
Yeah.
It does not end. You'll be talking to Gazoo up there for the rest of your life, and it's not a bad thing either.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting part about life because I think that part of it went away. I think there was a connection where I could actually visually see and speak to them and I could hear them back. I think that part went away as I got older and, life and stuff like that, but I started to hone those skills and things like that later. It's not like, I'm seeing things all the time and everything. But I'm very logical too. So there's like two sides to me where I'm very logical, understanding of the situation or the emotion, but then there's that like very empathic and very intuitive, insightful part of me that is still very, very in sync. Um, so yeah, I guess to answer your question, yes, and then you know, it's like logical, and then yes, still in focus.
It's when you get like me, it kind of slips one way more than the other. It happens.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I got a really neat question that was sent to me, and it deals with the Hinsdale house.
Hmm.
And it really was. I was kind of. I was kind of. I didn't know. Wouldn't know how to answer it because I've been up there so much.
Yeah.
Our friend Dan Class
Yep.
owns it. And he's done a great job with it and everything. But the question was, it was like a statement. The house seemed to have affected you
Hmm.
more so than a lot of the other locations that you have visited over the years. Why do you think that is? Because I mean, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah. I think each location has a different personal effect on people in general, just depending on how connected you are. Hinsdale is a fascinating location to me because we were never supposed to go there for paranormal lockdown in the beginning, and it kind of shifted and became what it is. So it was actually going to be torn down. We spoke to the previous owner, kind of kept it around for a month for us to film it. We talked to him. Then all of a sudden, Dan comes in, scoops it up, rehabilitates it, and all that stuff. And then we end up going there for the first episode. So many weird things happen. I didn't know what to expect, but what's crazy is 2 weeks prior to going there, I would have all these insightful dreams and stuff like that. This lady coming to me at like 2, 3 in the morning or so, and then talking to me. It's kind of like I don't know if it's a warning, but I think it was just like trying to reach out. She, like this spirit or this entity or whatever it was, knew that I was coming there. So that turned into that, and I think over time, the last 6, 7 years that I've been going there since
Yeah,
2000, what was
problem.
it, 15? Yeah,
I
6
think
years.
so. I think it's 6 years. That
Yeah,
doesn't hardly seem possible. It
I
really
know,
doesn't.
I know. That was one of the time you were on the first episode. You were amazing to come out and be a part of that. And it was I don't know, it was very strange. I think over time, what I started to learn is there's some sort of energetic pull to that location. You kind of become like you want to learn more, you want to understand what happened. It becomes kind of like for most people, it becomes either a obsession or you become like a piece of you is that in a sense, or you kind of let it go. Sometimes nothing happens. Like I've been there where it's just chill, it's calm, it's collective, but then
Hmm.
all of a sudden it's kind of like on what Clara says. Claire Denny, who used to live there in the 70s, it says like this umbrella effect comes over the whole entire property, and you just sense that entity or whatever is there. It's definitely a part of the land. I think there's like different layers to that location that really much so intrigue me, which is there's some sort of very ancient entity or whatever you want to call it at this point, elemental or whatever is on the land. And I think that thing sometimes tries to get into the house. And I think what's in the house is some sort of spiritual energy that we've communicated with that has layers of past that kind of ripple effect in and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But the location definitely affected me in the beginning. And then it had a weird effect as I just kept going through life and stuff like that. But I ultimately don't think it impacted me like in a negative way. I think it just helped evolve me to better understand what the paranormal is, what the supernatural is, what's going on there. I've been exploring the Hinsdale for like we were saying 6 years. Working on a huge project with Dan and some other stuff. We've been investigating it, pulling back layers, discovering new stuff. So it's been an ongoing investigation. It hasn't stopped. Just because you don't see it on TV or a streaming platform, it's not like we've stopped investigating. We have. I'll be going up there actually again very soon, and I think it's just one of those locations that you're like, sometimes you have locations, through your journey, and you're like, wow, that was a cool location. I got this. You talk about it, you kind of regurgitate some of the info. But this Hinsdale is like a location you keep talking about. Like it never stops. It's like the never ending story, you
You know,
know?
it's so true. That's so true because I know, I don't know how many people that I've talked to over the years, and that is the one house, that one location that they always say they love. They're going back to it. It's like it gets into you, almost to your DNA, where it calls you
Right.
back. And I know even with myself, because I'll call Dan up and say, "Hey Dan, do you think I can just go up, and would you mind if I just
Yeah.
walked around the outside? I don't even want to go inside. I just want to just go up there and maybe have my lunch or something, just to, and just it just makes you feel differently." And I
Mhm.
got a question here from a good friend, Colette. When you went to the Black Monk House, aka 30 Easy Drive, what did you think of that place? I've never been, but I have heard a lot of conflicting information about the place.
Yeah, no, it was definitely historically there's a lot of information on in Pontefract where it's located. Obviously war, there's been a lot of like just death history and stuff like that. Um they're all kind of positioned duplexes and stuff like that now, housing units. So I thought it had a weird energy. Like, look, I had to live in there for 100 hours. Anybody living in a house for 5 days straight, it's gonna be hell. Small house, but it definitely lived up to its reputation. I don't even know where to start. There was a weird connection with Hinsdale to Pontefract to 30 East Drive, aka the Black Monk House. When we did a 100-hour investigation, it was intense. It was grueling. I actually put a Fitband, I think it was, on to monitor my sleep, and I monitored my sleep. I had like 30 minutes of REM sleep, and then there was like a couple of days of 2 hours of conscious sleep. So it was grueling mentally and physically. The history, we did a lot of factual information in checking the background. So a lot of the stuff that we did was definitely fact checked,
Hmm.
meaning that it was researched properly. But yeah, there's a lot of folklore that revolve around the location. There's been a lot of like gossiping and stuff like that. It's like most iconic locations in a sense turn into kind of like a folklore, like legends and stuff that isn't true or hasn't happened and stuff. Like I've seen some episodes on TV like where like some of these ghost shows go to, and they're like 10,000 people died here. It's like what? It's like it's like an
Yes,
orphanage in
yes,
America, and someone saying like
yes.
10,000 deaths have occurred. I'm like, I could go right now and find out on, Justin and I joke around all the time. It's like one person died, and there's a cemetery up the street with maybe like 400 cemeteries, and they didn't die. I don't know. It's crazy. I think, sometimes when you have a haunting or you have a story, it can adapt into something even scarier, like Stephen King does it
Oh,
into a
yeah. Oh,
novel.
yeah.
So
It
you just you got to do your background. As an investigator, if you
right.
truly want to be an investigator, you truly want to know. I mean, the internet's great. It's good and bad, because it's good because it has some information you can find pretty quickly, but it's also bad because you can have a gazillion YouTube videos or whatever that's just totally false, and
I
they just
know.
want you to
Yes,
click on the information. So just
yes.
do the background check on locations. We do it thoroughly and very well. I think honestly, Justin's and he's like a beast at doing it. He's incredible. That's kind of his thing. He's really good at it.
He is.
Analytical.
I'll tell you what, when I worked with him, it was great because he just kept it was like every day I could expect an email from Justin. What about this? What about this? Can I is there a paper trail here? Is
Yeah.
and I mean, I was always honest with him because I wanted a good product to come out.
Yep.
And you know, a lot of times, I mean, I don't know how many times I get called in to locations or to what do anything, and you walk in there and you're like, really? Really?
Yep.
What let me ask you this. How much how much research because everybody I don't know how many people have told me and this was the old logic back in the day, I was going to say before you were born, but you were around, but you were a little kid.
VHS tapes? Are we talking VHS
This was
now?
we're talking Betamax, okay?
Oh,
We're
there we
talking
go. Nice.
uh everybody used to say don't research the site.
Hmm.
But here's the thing, if you don't research the site, I mean, you don't know the questions to ask. You don't know what you're looking for. You don't know if
Yeah.
this stuff is an urban legend or it's historically sound. I mean, what would you go and suggest to the modern paranormal investigator
Mhm.
when it comes to research?
Definitely research the site. I think there's two things. It just depends what you're going into. Are you going in to try to do like some sort of cold case psychic impression so you can gather information without being tainted from knowing the information, and then
Right.
seeing if you can pick from that? Like that's a mediumship thing or a psychic impression, or whatever insight you're trying to pull from that without not knowing anything. It's either that, but I mean, it just depends what you're doing. I mean, if you're investigating a location, why not learn all the information so you can try to discover something new? If you're doing like
Exactly.
a TV show and that's the conceptual idea where it's over here, you got somebody doing the inside and the second impression. You don't want to tell them anything, and then
Right.
you got over here, you got I don't know. It just depends what you're going for, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you have to do the research anyways, regardless of what is and what isn't. You still have to do the research. So why wait? I say do the research.
Mhm.
Understand what you get into.
Mhm.
Why you go into the location? Like, what's the objective? Everyone has an objective. I mean, are you just going for the thrill? Are you going for another haunted story? Are you actually going to investigate it? Do you want to experience something? Do you really want to see if ghosts exist, like I did? Do you I don't know. It
Exactly.
just depends what everyone wants. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think if you're looking up a location or you hear about a location, it somehow intrigues you. So that's why you're going. So why not learn more? But go off the facts. Don't
Right.
um don't assume and start what is it? Don't start just putting that other false energy into something that's already probably
I agree.
wrongfully
I
tainted.
agree 100%.
Because I
Nick, I mean, when
yeah,
I go in and Tessa, same way, if we get pulled in to do something, we don't want to know anything because again,
yeah,
we want to be able to go and read it. I don't want
right.
to be colored. You know what I mean? I don't want this coloring in my head before I walk in the door. But if you're going to do a meter, I always call it a meter reader investigation.
Hmm.
Know everything you can. Get,
Yeah.
see what you can because how many times do you get an EVP with with somebody's name on it?
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yeah.
so you got to know. And if you do get a name, now you know how to proceed rather than asking the same questions. You can be more
Right.
creative. I have to say that's the right way to do it. Tell me about this game that you is this a game that you created? What is this game? I kept seeing on Facebook all at Christmas time, and I'm looking at it going, that might be interesting.
Yeah.
Tell
It,
everybody about that.
yeah, Deadbolt Mystery Society. I teamed up with their company. They're honestly they're incredible, incredible genius storytellers. Really well done with what they're doing with their box games. Deadbolt Mystery Society. Look them up. But I got approached to work with them and take paranormal investigations into unfolding a mystery box game that you can investigate alongside me with clues that you have to try to solve, figure out, and it's so cool. So the new one that we just released, which was around last October, we did. I went to Scarefest in Lexington, Kentucky for Scarefest event, and I released our Deadbolt game there, which was the cleansing of the Killian house. And basically, what it is you have all this information that comes to you in a box when you buy it,
Hmm.
and you get signed pictures, all that stuff. But you unfold the map, you unfold like all the clues, and it's a whole storyline. It's a whole narrative of a paranormal investigation of trying to figure out in this haunted house how you free the spirits from being trapped there by this negative serial killer that was once living, and now he's trapping the spirits there. So you have to figure out this one thing that's missing so the spirits can be released, the house can be cleansed, and all can go back to peace and positive energy. And it's so cool because as you're playing this game, you're investigating alongside me. So on these cards and on the maps and all the information, there's these little those little codes that you scan it with your phone, and it pops up videos of me and I'm talking to you and telling you how to help you in the investigation, what to look for, what to do, the stories, the narrative. There's EVPs that we're capturing together that are audio clips in there too. So it's a whole entire investigation story where you investigate with me, and you're helping me as kind of like this Sherlock Sherlock investigation to figure out how we can free the spirits from this evil entity. Big news coming up, about more to come, and it did really well. You can go and get it right now and be a part of that game and play it, and it's awesome.
Now, here's the most important question I have of the evening. Listen, we all know about all your past stuff, all the great stuff you're doing. We all know now about the game. Tell me about Dead Time with the Groffs because that includes Tessa.
Yeah,
Because let me tell you what, Tessa might be this little tiny Italian lady, but she frightens me. She frightens me. I think she can take both of us. She could definitely take both of us.
she's amazing. She's a spitfire. I love her to death. And basically, Tessa and I were sitting around. We were like, we get videos sent to us, emails about stories, pictures to look at and analyze, and people are always asking us about our opinions on paranormal activity and stuff like that. So we were both talking. We're like, man, we should launch a YouTube channel for free so everyone can watch it, and we'll just put up all our kind of like opinions and stuff like that, and put together this cool little web series called Dead Time with the Groffs, which is pretty much us in bed looking at these videos and stuff like that and stories before we go to sleep because we're always talking about the craziest stuff before bed. So we decided to put this web series together. You can watch it right now on YouTube. It's free to watch wherever you are in the world. It's called Dead Time with the Groffs. You can look it up. You can search us on Instagram, Facebook, and we just premiered another episode tonight. So it's up there to rewatch right now if you missed it. We live chat with everybody in there, and we talk back and forth on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and it goes into anything paranormal, supernatural, anything from UFOs, alien abductions, ghosts, hauntings, experiences, or analyzing footage or debunking stuff. It goes into everything. So, in unsolved murder cases too, or unsolved missing cases, it goes into everything. Anything with mystery. So we're taking a lot of these videos and we're just kind of breaking them down and putting them into this fun little web series that we like to do. And I like it because we're interacting with people, of like minds and people that are from all over the world. And it's growing rapidly. We just literally launched it. We have a ton of videos up right now you can watch. And yeah, it's fun. We like it. And it's another cool little thing that we're doing while we're doing our big projects too.
What's next for Nick Groff? Well, because seriously, I this is I don't get a chance to see you as much as I would love to. I'd love to see you guys, and it was great to see you at at your personal appearance up at
Mhm.
Paranormal Oddities. It was fantastic to see the two of you guys together. But what's next? What I think Nick Groff, and then it's like I never see you like sitting there on a cloud, being zen, going, I'm very I'm just so content here. I always picture you like on a cloud, except I'm looking at your butt down because you're on a ladder trying to get to the next level.
Yeah.
What's next for you? What do you think? What is it that you would love to achieve? What's
Yeah.
next for you?
Yeah, I just want to keep moving through life and evolving. I think life is meant at this point, we try to figure it out so heavily in our brains, conversate it back and forth. We all have different opinions, different backgrounds, different religions. It becomes kind of this hogwash melting pot of just all sorts of just information right through life, through different realities and dimensions and whatever is happening in this crazy world and universe and beyond. So I think, it's been always the ultimate question from the dawn of day, like what happens when you die? I think a lot of people, doesn't matter what your beliefs are, everyone has some sort of personal insight on that. But the thing is we're evolving, technology is growing. I think at the end of the day, life is supposed to be meant to be experienced, and you're supposed to evolve with that. I've been humbled in my life, and I understand, sometimes just being happy and having like that love that you can take with you, like the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze, as you cross over the other side, is one of the greatest things ever than anything else, like materialistic things and so on. But I think ultimately what I would love to do is have a ripple effect in this universe for the better, in a positive sense where I can leave behind this kind of legacy for our children, for something that can continue, as far as here's everything that I've done. And it has an impact, not for a negative notion, but for a positive notion, but for it to be creative and have this consciousness left behind where it can help other people think outside the box or pursue what they have to do, or maybe make a impact in like some revolutionizing like the paranormal field at the same time, um kind of like Nikola Tesla did, and that like impact that he left behind. I just think that sometimes, when you go through life, you got to slow down and think about like the big picture, because we're all going ultimately to some place, no matter what the beliefs are. The facts are we will pass away out of this body that we're in. These bones and all the stuff that we're doing in these bodies will kind of disintegrate, but the energy, the consciousness, the electricity that you leave, definitely can have an impact. So that's kind of like, just my everyday goal is to not be distracted in the sense of like the negative or anything else. It's to be focused and really in guard of I'm going to give it my 150% nonstop until the last breath of air I can take out of this body and leave that impact behind, but have a well balanced, healthy life at the same time and be happy so I can appreciate not just the little things, but the most important things like the family and everything else that you evolve with. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I want to have like major impacts on big projects. I have a lot of visionary things that I want to do every day, but it's one step at a time, as I grow.
Okay, we're almost at the end of the hour. And Nick, tell everybody how they can go and they can find out about, well, the wonderful world of Nick Groff, where it's just incredible because with one little click, your head will just like explode because of everything that you're up to and everything that you're doing. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and find out so much more about what you and Tess are up to.
Yeah, if you go to thenickgroff.com, that's my site there. I have everything listed there. It's thenickgroff.com. Follow me on my Instagram and Facebook page and Twitter. I've only have one account that I look at, so don't fall for all the fake accounts that are out there with my names. Look for the blue check mark and my responses. I don't personally reach out to people on Instagram and all that stuff, or Facebook like all these fake accounts do. And then also G Crew. You can follow us on G Crew. We have a huge Bobby Mackey event coming up in August. Dave Schrader's hosting it. Chad Lindbergh, Josh Hurd, Johnny Hauser, myself, Tessa, Bobby Mackey. A ton of other people are going to be there. Bobby Mackey's in August 13th coming up. You can go get tickets. They're up there right now on our site for G Crew. It's going to be a live G Crew show that we're doing at Bobby Mackey's in Wilder, Kentucky, near Cincinnati. And then what else do I have? I'm going to be making a huge announcement for Deathwalker, so stay tuned for that for all the cool American people out there that've been waiting. And social media is the key place. Kind of look at what we're doing. Go follow Dead Time with the Groffs on YouTube and our Instagram and Facebook. And a lot more to come. I'm going to be announcing some other stuff with Deadbolt, Mystery Society, and what else I have? A couple events coming up. Probably some Nick Groff tours in between. And yeah, a lot of things coming. And the baby's going to be born soon.
Oh
So
my,
we're moving
yeah,
right along.
you got a couple irons in the fire. That's all I got to say.
Yep.
Nick, stick around so I can thank you properly off the air. And I
Thanks.
seriously, I want to thank you so much for because I know how busy you are. And when I reached out to you, you just jumped right on it. And I do appreciate it more than I can tell you. And I have to tell you one thing again, so much success to you because right where you are right now, you're actually, I'll just tell you right now, between you and me, you're right where you're supposed to be because you have the love of not just a good woman, but you got the love of all these fans. Because everyone who talks about Nick Groff, almost, I will say almost everyone, 99.9%.
Yeah,
Well, when you talk about Nick Groff, will always have a smile on their face and
I
say what a
appreciate it.
great guy he is, and that's what it's all about. So thank you, Nick, and I'll be right with you in just a couple seconds.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
You're the best. Hey, everybody, thank you guys so much for hanging out and being part of the show. Nick is a great guy, and I just am so thankful that he decided to come on. And he's one of the busiest guys out there in this crazy world of ours. So, thank you for listening in. This is Tim Shaw. We're at the Black Cat Lounge. Where else? Next to the dumpster transfer station. Take care, people. Be safe. Be healthy. And we'll see you next week. Ciao, babies. Bye-bye.